Hello and welcome. You're watching The Social Network on NDTV 24/7. I'm Kajari Sen, and today all of social media in India is talking about just one thing. If I quickly read off what's happening on Twitter right now, there are 5 top trends. The legend bows out, salute the legend, Sachin retires, India versus Australia, BCCI and Sharjah. And the reason for that is, of course, Sachin Tendulkar announcing his retirement, the end of an era for so many of us. That's what we're going to be discussing here on the social network. But before we introduce our guests who are going to be joining us to talk about Sachin Tendulkar's legacy, we asked you, our viewers, to send us video blogs, and you sent in your greatest memories, what you feel Sachin's legacy is like, what cricket will be like without Sachin, and many other opinions. Let's first take a look at those and then we'll start talking.
My favourite Sachin Tendulkar moment is the double century which he hit versus Australia in Sydney in 2004. During that tour, Sachin Tendulkar was under a lot of pressure because he was not able to perform well. But during that innings in Sydney Test, he changed his game completely and played most of his shots down the ground and handled the Australians bowling pretty well.
सचिन ने बहुत सही टाइम पे संन्यास लिया है और उनको बहुत अच्छा किया, नए खिलाड़ी को मौका दिया उन्होंने।
आज वो संन्यास ले रहे हैं, हमको बहुत दुख हो रहा है। हमारे इतने अच्छे प्लेयर थे कि 100 टेस्ट खेला है उन्होंने, और आज वो रिटायर ले रहे हैं, हमको बहुत तकलीफ हो रही है।
And our guests with us right now, Editor-in-Chief of Outlook, Krishna Prasad, and also joining me right here in the studio, Gaurav Sethi of the board, Cricket Crazy Indians. Let me start with you, Krishna. And, when we talk about the legacy of Sachin Tendulkar, now the time has come to talk about the legacy, given that he has announced his retirement. What do you think it is?
I think Sachin's legacy is quite clear. I mean, he's had a long, wonderful run. It's been 24 years, going on to 25. So I think the legacy is quite clear in the sense that he opens up a huge gaping hole in the Indian middle order. It's one thing to say that there are a set of very competent batsmen around to replace him, but I think the key legacy would be filling up that big hole in the middle order, one, and secondly, getting the kind of statesman-like figure who, despite the adulation, had the humility to survive through this millennial age with such decency and civility. I think you're going to find that increasingly difficult as you go along. But I think the legacy is going to be both cricketing and non-cricketing. The cricketing one is a very clear one. The non-cricketing one, which is getting the kind of player with a stable mind, with a solidity of technique, and with a kind of civility and decency and humility, I think that's going to be very, very difficult for Indian cricket here from here on.
Important point there, Sachin Tendulkar, the person as well as the legend. They're really setting an example for Indians and cricketers everywhere. Gaurav, there were a lot of people saying that the time had come for Sachin to retire. In fact, they've been saying it for about a year and a half now. But when it actually happened, what we saw was an overwhelming outpouring of emotion, and positive emotion at that, saying that Sachin will be deeply missed.
Sure, I wouldn't agree there when you say that the retirement came now and we are reacting, because people have been reacting for about 10 years. It started when he had a slump and headlines such as Tendulkar were seen for the first time. So it has been a very critical last 10 years for Tendulkar. So he has had to repeatedly score runs. There is an emotional bond which he shares with all of us. So we tend to be two-faced when it comes to Sachin. Even the harshest critic will say, there's something that does happen, he pulls at your heartstrings, so to say. But at the same time, everyone who watches cricket and says they know cricket would say, well, is it a little late? Was it 2 years late? Should he have retired after the World Cup? I mean, these are things which you don't want to address today because it just seems so wrong. But if you were to look at it purely from a cricketing point of view, from the tournament that just got over, which was the Champions League T20, and it was very rough going for both Dravid and Sachin.
Certainly.
And that is not something you want to do in the finals. And that was my birthday, so I had people over. I wasn't watching too much, I was entertaining. I saw 2 dismissals. I saw Dravid get clean bowled, and I saw Sachin get out. And I said, I'm done with it. I don't want to watch more. It's very emotionally draining to have had such a strong bond with a cricketer for so many years and to watch the slump. Now everyone will go and
Right.
watch cricket again. Test cricket will be hot for 2 test matches in India again.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think people who've possibly not watched Test cricket for years are going to get back to it, at least for the next 2 matches. But Krishna, you know, an important point which has been made there by Gaurav, which is the emotional attachment to Sachin Tendulkar. Sachin Tendulkar, in a sense, defined cricket for India. Do you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I think he defines cricket for the modern Indian. I think we shouldn't forget 2 things. When Sachin made his debut, it was 1989, which means it's really 25 years. And when you look at this fact about India, that more than 60% of India is less than 25 years of age, what it really means is that for 60% of Indians, it's really Sachin Tendulkar who's the iconic figure when it comes to cricket. So that emotional connect is there to start with. A. B. He's also a post-liberalization kid. Let's not forget that his real boom starts about 91, 92. So this whole generation has seen him post-liberalization only through the eyes of Sachin Tendulkar. Thirdly, despite the riches of Indian cricket, let's not forget that Indian cricket was not very rich long time back. It's only post-95, 96 that the monies have come in. And to find that Sachin Tendulkar has been the common strand from 1989, 1992 and 1996, the 3 inflection points during India's cricketing history, modern cricket history, it tells you that here is a kind of stable factor which has been through and through. So that emotional connect clearly comes through. But most importantly, I think he comes through because here is a character who has excelled on virtually every single cricketing continent of this world.
Right.
He's excelled in every single cricketing country. So I think that emotional connect is not just national but international for a whole horde of people outside of India. The only cricketing connection largely from 1990 has been Sachin Tendulkar. So the emotional connect comes from there.